To talk more about Turkey's new foreign policy direction, we have with us Professor Edmund Garib from American University in Washington, D.C., Mr. Serhat Guvenc, an associate professor from Kadir Has University in Istanbul. And in Beijing, we have Ambassador Hua Liming, a guest research fellow from the China Institute of International Studies. Welcome, gentlemen, to our program. Do you think, Professor Garib, the Prime Minister of Turkey is really now shifting the focus of the country's foreign policy from European focus to the Middle East and the Arab countries?
Clearly, I think Prime Minister Erdogan is trying to shift the focus. It did not start overnight. It did not just emerge. If we go back and listen to some of his earlier speeches, if we read the works of his foreign minister, we would come to this realization. I think the denial of Turkey in the European Union, which is what Turkey has been trying to achieve, the opposition from some of the European countries has pushed Turkey in another direction to try to rediscover its role in the Middle East and to play a regional role at a time when Arab leaders find themselves in weak position, facing a lot of difficulties, and when the Arab position is also very weak vis-a-vis Israel. The Turkish Prime Minister has used the Arab-Israeli issue to strengthen his position on a regional basis.
I see.
But the issues are much more broad than that, and there are a lot of challenges ahead.
Right. Professor Guvenc, do you agree with what Professor Garib said? And meanwhile, do you think the Prime Minister has been successful in using the method that he has been using so far in shifting the focus of the foreign policy?
Well, I would disagree in identifying this move as a dramatic shift of focus in Turkish foreign policy. To me, it's rather a move to take advantage of the emerging regional situation and assert Turkey's economic and political interest in that part of the world. And also, Erdogan clearly stated that Turkey is siding with the forces of change, and Turkey also is clearly defining itself as a promoter of democracy, human rights, and capitalism or free market economy in the emerging democracies or new regimes in the Arab world. Well, I think it's not a shift of focus, dramatic shift of focus, for several reasons. One reason is that although obviously receives priority as elsewhere, in Turkey as elsewhere, in the meantime, Turkey has consolidated its position within the NATO alliance by agreeing to host the radar sites for the NATO's missile defense system. So indeed, Turkey indicated that it remains and it will remain a part of the Western security community. Therefore, the West, to be precise, particularly Washington, will remain a priority in Turkish foreign policy, and I don't think Turkey's moves in the Middle East are not taken without consultation with the Obama administration in the United States.
Interesting. And what is your observation here from Beijing, Ambassador Hua?
Well, inherited from the old Ottoman Empire, Turkey has special pride for being a regional power. But unfortunately, since the end of the Second World War, Turkey joined the NATO and became the ally of the United States, and even was a client of the United States. But since 2002, when AKP became the ruling party of Turkey, and Erdogan became the leader of Turkey, Turkey started a long procedure of shifting the foreign policy. Turkey remained a member of NATO, but as well as at the same time, Turkey is starting its relationship with the Arab countries. Turkey starts to be the bridge between the West and the Arab Middle East, and Turkey has changed its image as only a NATO member. but he is a friend of Arab country. So that's why Turkey and the Israeli relationship has declining. So this is the procedure of shifting in Turkish foreign policy.
You said Turkey has become a friend with the Arab states and also some of those in the Middle East, but earlier there have been some different examples, seems to show another direction. For example, when the Prime Minister was visiting Egypt this time, he was preaching the idea of the Turkish model to the Egyptians, which didn't win a lot of favor and also satisfaction from the Egyptian friends, even from the Muslim Brotherhood, actually some anger there. So, Ambassador Hua, can Turkey be the real friend for them?
No, I think Turkey is trying very hard to be a friend of the Arab country. And actually, Turkey, and especially Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan, has won a huge image and a popularity among the Arab countries. If you see that in the Cairo streets and in Libya, he was so warmly welcomed by the Egyptian and by the Libyans. You see, Turkey has really become the friend of the Arab countries. But I don't think the model of Turkey will be duplicated in other, because this model was created 100 years before by the Kemal Atatürk. Now, after 100 years, I don't think in this situation, this international situation, Arab country can or they will duplicate the Turkish model.
Professor Garib, would you agree with what Ambassador Hua just said, that the Turkish model will not likely to work in some of the other Middle Eastern countries, for example, Egypt?
Clearly, there are a lot of difficulties. There are different experiences, different historical, constitutional, political, and economic traditions. So that will be a limit. I think it was very interesting that what you pointed out, the response from the Muslim Brotherhood, who are very close, actually, and have been close to the ruling party in Turkey, and what they were concerned about, two issues. One was when the Turkish Prime Minister said that Turkey was a secular state. He said he was a Muslim, he was a devout Muslim, but he was the head of a secular state, and that did not please the Muslim Brotherhood. The second thing, what was perceived by some of the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood, that Turkey was also trying to draw a map for what kind of steps and what kind of policies, directions the Arab world should take, and that is something that they rejected. They said, we don't want any hegemonic role from outside. So this is a challenge. At the same time, what Ambassador Hua mentioned about the popularity of Erdogan, he's very popular in the Arab world. His challenge to the Israelis, whether it was in Davos, whether it was his opposition to the Gaza war, whether it was the expulsion of the Israeli ambassador and the reduction of trade relations,
right.
These are very popular in the Arab world, his support for the Palestinians. So this idea of his attempt to create a common cause with the Arab world is popular.
Well, if that idea, playing with the idea between the relations between Israel and Palestinian will be the central piece of winning favor among the Arab states for Turkey, then, Professor Guvenc, what kind of risk is Turkey taking here in regard to its relations with the United States? What does it mean for Turkey then?
Well, again, I would like to turn back to issue in the missile defense project in evaluating the risks. Well, by agreeing to host those radar missiles, which the Washington administration declared theirs, Turkey agreed to be part of a network of an air defense system which includes Israel, or the U.S. radars in Israel. So in a way, Israel will be benefiting from the radar coverage of the Turkish radars. And when you look at from this perspective, Turkish government has been trying to make a clear distinction between the people of Israel and the current government of Israel. And to my best knowledge, the current Israel government does not have that good of relations, that good of a relationship with the current administration. So probably Turkey will have problems in the Congress as regards to the approval of its high-tech weaponry orders, etc. But apart from that, there is a bigger game going on in the Middle East, and Turkey and Washington, or Turkey and the United States, seem to be working in very much harmony, though I cannot deny that Israel is a problem, but I think they will eventually work it out. The problem is both Turkey and Israel are forcing Washington to make either-or choice, to make a choice between one of them.
Yes, that certainly is the issue there. But Professor Garib, if you could respond very briefly, would the Turkish decision or actions regarding its relations with Israel and Palestine influence much the relations with the United States, which of course is a key element of its foreign policy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a great deal will depend on the direction of Turkish foreign policy, especially its relations with Israel. The Turks asked the United States not to provide information from the radar system, but the U.S. government refused. I think Turkey is trying to play a balancing role. On the one hand, they're taking the tough line against the Israelis. At the same time, they're telling Washington, and Washington welcomes that Turkey could offer a democratic example, an moderate Islamic model in the Middle East, and that Turkey is still a leading player in NATO and has supported the Arab Spring. So I think a great deal will depend on how far Turkey would want to go in confronting Israel. We'll see what happens. Are they going to send another or support another flotilla to Gaza? Will they send ships to the eastern Mediterranean as they promised? But the main thing that I want also, if I may, there are other very serious challenges that the Turkish government faces. One of them is its problems with the PKK and with the Kurdish population in Turkey, where there is a great deal of tension. Turkey has tried to achieve zero conflict with its neighbors, but it now seems to have problems with Cyprus, with Greece, with Iraq, with Syria, where many see it's interfering, with Iran because of the missiles.
Well, there are certainly a lot of thorny issues there between Turkey and some of his neighbors. Turkey is still, Ambassador Hua, playing with the idea of joining or not the EU, even though supporting rate for that is as low as 30% the last time I checked before I went into the studio. So how do you see this weighing of focus of attention for Turkey for now, particularly from your perspective as a Chinese, as an emerging economy?
Well, Turkey has been applying for the EU membership for a quite long time, but the EU has denied the membership of Turkish because, well, an excuse of Turkish political system and the Turkish human rights situation and the PKK problem. So I think the Turkish shifting of foreign policy and Turkish friendly relations with Arab countries and the Turkish stand vis-a-vis the Israeli and the Palestinian problem will provide a very good leverage for the Turkish foreign policy to press the European Union to accept its membership. I think Turkey still is keeping enough room for the relations with the United States and with the European Union and the West as a whole.
Professor Guvenc, though, how sustainable is this leverage as indicated by Ambassador Hua?
I missed your question. Could you repeat it, please?
How sustainable do you think is this leverage that Turkey is having right now by playing both hands with the Middle East, with the EU? Well, we seem to have lost.
Well, this has always been the idea. I mean, having good relations with Middle Eastern countries, having an influence there, has always been thought to improve Turkey's prospects for EU membership. And in that regard, I mean, I think we're back to the original thinking that Middle East, again, is not considered as an alternative to Turkey's trade, economic, and political and military links with Europe, but as a complementary to those links.
All right,
so
thank you very much. We have to wrap up here. Thank you very much, Serhat Guvenc, Edmond Garib, and Hua Liming. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you. And we'd like to know what you think about this and anything else you've seen on our program. Send us an email at worldinsight@cctv.com. And that's all the time we have for this week. I'm Tian Wei. For all the team, thank you for watching, and join us again in 7 days for more global perspectives and stories from across China and around the world. Goodbye.